Hello, you're watching GMODISM Total Nerdery channel, and today we're going to take your system and upgrade everything. GMODISM Total Nerdery channel. Yes, the only thing we're going to keep is our hard drive with our Windows installed on it, and we're going to take it and put it in another system, a new motherboard, PSU, graphics card, everything, processor, RAM, just new. And we're going to make it work, because we can make it work. Especially with Windows 10, it's not a big problem. We'll just need to do little things here and there to make sure it's actually working. So, let's go. There we have my new system, and despite popular belief that this looks more shitty than this thing, which is my current setup, this computer is a lot better. So we're basically going to move our hard drive from this PC onto this PC, and then we're just gonna make it work. So this new system, it doesn't have a hard drive connected. We have an old hard drive down here, but it's disconnected, and this is where we're going to put our hard drive, there. So basically, it's easiest if you disconnect all other SATA devices, or if you have a hard drive that's attached to the motherboard, well, it should be something like somewhere there, then it's an M2 drive, and that's of course faster. And if so, you should not connect any SATA stuff. If you do, you need to go into BIOS and select boot order, but if you just don't, you can just get away with having one of them plugged in and it just works. This is my current computer here that I've been using, and I have one hard drive connected up, which is this one, my Samsung SSD, dusty and all. So basically, as you might imagine, we should drag out these cables and disconnect the SATA and disconnect the power, and do this with two hands so you don't damage any stuff. So I basically have this little interesting tray where I can fasten this metal piece with a hard drive on. Or not a hard drive, a solid state drive. Here we have it. And we can just put it into this tray, or should be able to. It looks like we need to play around with screws a little bit to release these ones. And to fasten your hard drive correctly or properly is of course not very important, especially not the SSD drives. The regular hard drives are more sensitive to be bashed around, so that's something to think of. If the computer will sit still, you probably don't even need to fasten them at all, basically. But it's a good practice, basically. And there we go. We have now fastened this little SSD drive. And it's not super important that they're super fixed, you just don't want them to bash around against any other component. From the motherboard we have the SATA connections right here. And they go down and back here. So here we have the SATA connections sticking out, these ones, all of them. And all the SATA connectors are basically the same. They have the same speed. This format, if they fit, they have the same speed. But yeah, there is a rating for 6 gigabytes per second or whatever, and it doesn't do much. It's just something to make you buy new cables. So any of these cables that look fresh should work absolutely fine. So just plug in one of the cables into the SATA connector there and the power connector here. Power connector like that. And we may now insert it into this little tray. Alright, so now you have to connect up your cables to your computer, which you had, you know, screen and everything, and power and USB and stuff like that. So we can basically boot up this system. Now it's quite important that we have a connected internet to our computer so that it will be able to fetch new drivers and stuff automatically when we start up, if there are any problems. Windows 10 is very good at solving these problems itself. It seems to be booting. Alright, so we completely missed that, but it said getting drivers ready, and it now allows us to log in. And there we go. We're inside the computer. And it seems to be working. Alright, so booted into our computer, we need to do some stuff to set it up, basically. You can either install CPU seat to get the model of your motherboard if you don't already know the model from reading from the motherboard. You can also do that, of course. Or you can do like this, right click on the Windows button, and then you'll find PowerShell. And inside PowerShell we will paste this little text here. wmic baseboard get product manufacturer version serial number. I paste that in the description. And if we do that, we can see that product manufacturer serial number. We can get all the information about the motherboard we have. Now we need to find a web browser and search for those drivers. Alright, so we just write in the manufacturer and model number of that motherboard that we have displayed in either CPU-Z or in PowerShell like that. So we just write in that there, and then we add chipset drivers. And we try to go to the manufacturer's homepage, of course, and see where we can find some nice drivers. Onto their webpage you should find something that's called driver or support in this case. And then you'll click the download button, and then we'll need to select our operating system, and we're running Windows 10 64-bit. So here on the download page we have the different types of drivers available for our operating system and, well, this motherboard. So I will not download all of this, but generally it's probably a good idea to download at least most of them. Some of them might already be installed automatically by Windows when we booted into this, but some of the drivers may not have been come through, so we should just download all of them and install to make sure that we have the latest official version. Here we can see this is Realtek audio, so this is our audio drivers. I will download them. Here we have Intel Bluetooth, and I have Bluetooth on this motherboard, but I will not use it. We do want to download these general ENF drivers as well. I don't have Intel Optane, but if you do, you should download the drivers. Intel Management Engine driver, well, it's basically some kind of micro operative system thing that lets Intel stuff communicate with some base core things on your motherboard and the system and the processor. It's kind of weird. I don't really understand exactly what it does, but most people don't need this, so you can probably ignore to install this. However, I will install a little overclocking thing and just overclock it a tiny bit, and it's possible that I might need it for that, so I will download it. But if you don't want to do anything like that, you don't need it. Intel LAN driver is the internet driver. I need that. SATA floppy image driver, that's a driver that lets you have floppy drives. And if you don't have a floppy drive, you might not even know what a floppy drive is. Well, then you don't need it. I can tell you, as a little lead, there is an emoji for the floppy drive. In any case, Intel Rapid Storage Technology, that's something that's I want. If you have an SSD and have an Intel processor, I would download the Intel Rapid Storage Technology driver. VGA driver, this computer doesn't have VGA connection at all, so I do not need it. Or I think the motherboard might have, but of course I'm using my GPU. Intel Wireless LAN driver, well, this is a Wi-Fi driver, so you should probably download this, but I will not use Wi-Fi on this device, so I will not. ASRock Tuning Utility is a little low-level overclocking service, and I will use it, so I will download it. And these other ones are not something that you should need. It's an app shop, Norton Security, and basically restarting to BIOS from desktop. It's weird. So that's basically that. Now we can go to our downloads folder and start installing those drivers. Most of these are just exe files you can run, and I began with installing the ENF drivers. It however messed up that recording, so anyways, we'll restart later. But it's basically just go into them like this, find an outrun and extract all, and then let it do that, and then just install it. Install drivers and software. Accept the terms and click next. And then we'll have the drivers. It's nice. Some drivers and some software. Validating install. And there we have it. Just finish. We can view some properties later in the device manager. And then we have, we installed that one, very nice. Now we have the me, which I chose. Rapid storage, I think will go next. We have it, extract that one. And we might as well extract this one already. Or we didn't need to, all right. Well, some of them you don't need to extract, but well, very nice, beautiful. Oh wow, this is so beautiful. You see this? Wow, I love this. Next, we're gonna install, very beautiful, the one ring is rotating. It's not brain science exactly, but we'll restart the computer later. All right, and then we have the rapid storage one, so we're gonna go with that. Accept the terms, next. We don't want desktop shortcut, and there we go. We'll restart it later and finish. And there we go, and then a tuning. Like that, and this is actually a program, so we'll get a desktop shortcut from this, I do believe. All right. Then we have me. Set up me, extract all. And most people don't need this, but if you want to have remote support by admins, you need this. If you want to have a person that can be an administrator remotely, you want to install Management Engine, but no, most people don't have any use for this, to be honest. And we're gonna start it later. Very nice. Now we have installed all of these drivers right here. Now we need to do something else. We need to right click the Windows icon and click Device Manager. And on the Device Manager we have Display Drivers. So we have a GeForce GTX 1080. And this is not the same graphics card on my old motherboard, since I basically just moved over my hard drive to a new system. So we should go in here and write in NVIDIA drivers advanced search. And then you have advanced drivers search, and then we go with whatever we had here, GeForce GTX, GeForce 10 series. Which one was this? 1080 Titan. So here we have it right there. And SD studio drivers are best if you are using some kind of creative application, maybe the Adobe softwares or something like that. And game ready drivers are better if you play more games. So we're gonna click on this game ready driver and we're gonna click download. Download. And just click to open it. And it's now checking system compatibility, and if you fail to download the correct drivers, it will tell you there that you didn't download the correct drivers. And I wouldn't use GeForce Experience. If you use Shadowplay, the recording feature of GeForce Experience, you need to install it. But if you don't use Shadowplay, I would recommend to just download the NVIDIA graphics drivers to avoid all that extra junk. So I think that's pretty smart. Anyways, click agree and continue, and then we can go with a custom install. And in most cases you don't need to perform a clean install, but since I've moved my since I've moved everything from the system, we might have old NVIDIA setup stuff going on there onto this control panel. So we would definitely want to perform a clean install, because it will also remove some old drivers that we don't need. So we just click clean install and click next. Alright, so now we have updated NVIDIA graphics drivers, and that means we'll need to right click or search up NVIDIA control panel. Here we can change the resolution and refresh rate. If it happens to not be where it's supposed to be, this is where to change it. Alright, and there you have it. That's how to take your computer and upgrade everything without reinstalling Windows. Isn't that quite fantastic? So that's basically that. I hope it works good for you. It's possible you might get into some issues, and upgrading the system without reinstalling Windows is not something that's really recommended. People usually recommend to just reinstall Windows because it's more fail-safe, but this is like the easy method, and usually it works without problems really. So, hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, please leave a like and do subscribe to this channel. This is your host, GMODISM, signing out.